We're going to be continuing Daf Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph, which is 77a1. We were talking about that Rabbi Yochanan says, Elu ma'alim mikan ve'ochlin, ve'elu ma'alim mikan ve'ochlin. I'll share with you the screen to understand exactly what we're talking about. We said over here, if you look at the picture, this guy is going to go on top of this wall, he's going to eat. This one is going to go on top of this wall and he's going to eat, because if you remember, there was less than 4 tfachim over here of width in between the wall of the two people. So therefore they could come and they could eat it on top of over here. So now we learned in our Mishnah, but that's only if they are allowed to come up and eat the fruits which are already found on top of this wall. However, though, they are not allowed to come and bring the fruits from here to here. If the fruits are already here, they could go on top of the wall here and eat here, but they cannot bring the fruits from here to here. So it says the Gemara, Hachi Kamer. This is what it means to say. Okay? It says, Yesh bo arba al arba, if you have a place of 4x4 in malin lo, you could only go on top of the wall, but you cannot bring it down, right? Which means you cannot bring it to the wall. En bo arba arba, if it does not have arba al arba, malin nami, you're even allowed to even come and bring it up to the wall. As Rabbi Yochanan Tamer, Rabbi Yochanan goes according to his reasoning. The Chiyata Rav Dimi was when Rav Dimi came from Eretz to Bavel, he said, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Makom she'em bo arba al arba, a place that does not have arba al arba, mutar livnei reshut arbim lifnei reshut yachid lechatef alav. They're allowed to come and they're allowed to be mechatef alav, uvilvad shelo yachlifu, but they cannot change. So that's this picture here. This place has less than 4x4. So a person in reshut rabim, remember this is reshut rabim, this is reshut yachid, they could both come and put something here. However, though, they're not allowed to exchange. Meaning he could put his hat here and he could put his sidur or whatever it is here, right? And there's no problem. But they cannot exchange it afterwards that he's going to take the sidur and he's going to take the hat. Okay? But they're both allowed to put something here. Okay? Right? So therefore, you see from here, just like Rabbi Yochanan is going to permit it because it's like a mekom ptur, right? Which is found between them. And he didn't prohibit it. So too, it should be the same thing. Rav le'le Rav Dini. So he says what? Rav doesn't hold of Rav Dini, right? Rav was the one that argues on Rabbi Yochanan, and he says that it's prohibited on the top of the wall between the two different courtyards. So what? He doesn't hold of Rav Dini. So says the Gemara, ibir shiyot doraita hachanami. If we're talking about the shiyot which is doraita, then you're right, right? Then he's going to be modeh. Hachamaskin. What are we dealing with? The shiyot midrabanan, which is something which is derabanan. The Chachamim asu chizuk l'divrehem yoter mishel Torah. Chachamim, they came and they made a chizuk between them even more than Torah. Okay? Fine. Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna Rav Nachman. Says Rabba bar Huna, name of Rav Nachman. Kotel sheben shnei chatzerot. When you have a wall between two chatzerot, tzido echad gavoa 10 tfachim. One side is 10 tfachim. Tzido echad shaveh. Let's see. That's what we said. This one. Kotel sheben shtei chatzirot. Look at the picture. You have here a wall between two chatzirot. Tzido echad gavoa 10 tfachim. So one side is 10 tfachim. Yeah, v'tzido echad shaveh, and the other one is only going to be shaveh la'aretz, right? Which is going to be less than that. Okay, that means here, look. On this side, it's 10 tfachim. But on this side, the wall is shaveh to here. Here, since it was higher up, you see here is you already have a step. Here, there's no step. It's equal to the wall, to the pavement. Here, it's already got a step. It's elevated. So therefore, the wall on this side is less than 10 tfachim. Now, the thickness is 4 tfachim. Notnin oto, we're going to put it, right? Lezeh sheshaveh la'aretz mishum dehav lezeh tashvisho benacha v'lezeh tashvisho bekasheh. So therefore, what happens is you're allowed to place things on top of the wall, right? Why? To the one which is chatzer, which is going to be shaveh to the aretz, because then it's tashvisho benachat. Lezeh tashvisho kasher. For here, it's much harder. Right? So therefore, what happens is we only give it to the one which is tashvisho benachat. So this person here, he's got an easier way of using the wall, because since it's less than 10 tfachim, it's less than 80 centimeters, for him and mamash, he could use it. So we give the usage of this wall to this property, because tashvisho benachat, they could use it easily. This one, it's much more difficult to use it because it's taller, so therefore tashvisho kasher. So we give it to this property. So Amar of Shizbi, Amar of Nachman says of Shizbi and Amar of Nachman, charitz. Yeah? That's this picture. Charitz sheben shte chatzirot. If you have a charitz, now look, here there's no wall. It's a charitz. It's like a ditch. Yeah, or like a pit, or I don't know what you would call it exactly. Furrow in between the two properties, right? On this side, it's going to be 10 tfachim. But on this side, it's going to be less than 10 tfachim. Okay? We're going to give it to the one which is shaveh la'aretz, right? To this one which is more shaveh. So now in this picture, it's the exact opposite. In this picture, since this one was shaveh la'aretz and this one was higher up, so for this property, it's going to be 10 tfachim. And for this property, it's going to be less than 10 tfachim. So then again, we're going to give it to this one now. Not to the, before, in this picture, since on this side it was less than tfachim, we give it to this property. And not to this one. In this picture, since we're talking about a ditch, it's less than tfachim for this property, not for this one. This one, it's more. So because of that, we give it out to this side of the property. Right? That's what it says. And we need both cases. Why? The Yashmin and Kotel, if it told us about the wall, because things which are taller up, which are higher up, people use it. Aval charitz, but a charitz, that nobody uses it, meaning a wall, people will use it. Because a wall is up high, you'll put things on a wall. You're not going to start using a ditch. Yeah? Aval charitz, I would say that you don't say this. If you only taught me in a charitz, because you don't need to use it. But a kotel, that you do, that you're afraid to use it, because sometimes you're afraid of things falling off the wall. I would say, no, that's why you need both cases. So both halachot are actually going to be brought down. Okay? Next case. Ba lema'ato. Okay, if you want to minimize it. Right? So it says, Im yesh b'miyuto arba'a, mutar lishtamesh b'chol hakotel kulo. So it says, if you want to now minimize it, look, here you have 10 tfachim. Right? So now here you're going to try to minimize it. Okay, how are you going to try to minimize it? You put things here. So this is an itzteba, it's like a block of wood, paspasim, different pegs, or talafar, or like dirt, dust. Not dust, but like, earth. You're going to put here. So mutar lishtamesh bechol hakotel kulo. You're allowed to use the entire kotel, v'im lav, and if not, en lishtamesh lekeneged miut, only in that side. So that's what it says here. Ba lema'ato yesh b'miyuto arba'a. Oh, this is according to Tosot. Okay. So fine. So says the Gemara, Manavshach, if it does help what you're doing, right? So bekule kotem ishtamesh, use the entire wall. And if it doesn't help, so even keneged miyut lamilo, which means like this. If you're going to tell me that it helps, right? So why is it that you're only allowed to use over here? You should use the entire wall. We're saying you could only use right here. That's it. You understand? Like only right here. Only right here. Only right here. Only right here. Meaning only on top of the mute. Says why? If it helps, you should be able to use the entire wall. And if it doesn't help, don't use the entire wall at all. So Ravina says, you took off the top part of the wall. That's this picture. Right here. If you look here, you took off part of it in the wall. So since you took off part of it in the wall, there's 4 tfachim, and now becomes less, so that's why you're allowed to use it right here. If you're going to come and you're going to overturn a sefel, that's here. Kafa sefel mema'et. You turn over like a pot, right? Or a jug of water, whatever it is, and you put here, so now you have less than 10 tvachim. So you're allowed to do that. So ask the Gemara, why? Hanitar b'shabati. It's not mutze. You could take it on Shabbat. V'davar hanitar b'shabbat. Memayet, something which you could take on Shabbat. It's not memayet. So says the Gemara, lo tzicha, what are you talking about? The chabre be'ara. You connected it in the ground. Meaning you went and you actually connected it to the ground. Right? That's over here. You connected it. Okay? So he says, if you connected it, what's the difference? Latanya, we learned in a Braita. Pagashi itmina beteven v'charashi itmina megechalim. If you took a te'ena, a fig, that was not fully ripe, and you put it on Erev Shabbat inside of teven, inside of like wheat, in order that it should become ripened, or a charadav, like a cake, You put it inside gechalim in order that it should cook. So you put this cake inside of like coals in order that it should actually bake. If part of it is revealed nitla b'Shabbat, you're allowed to take it on Shabbat, right? So it says the Gemara, hachamay skinan. What are we dealing with? Ditla uganim. You have uganaim. What is that? It's got a safar b'letikla pechutz. It's got something like a rim on the outside that you could pull it out. Okay, so says the Gemara, even if you do have these uganaim, this like rims on the side, what does it mean? But now we learned to the Mishnah, if you put lefet and snon, turnips and radishes underneath the gef in the vineyard, bizman, right, sheksatan ali megulin, ein zaydamud bet, 77b. When it's going to be, some of the leaves are going to be revealed. You're not going to choshesh, lo mishum kilayim mishum maaser, not because of kilayim maaser, velo mishum shvit, and not mishum shvit, v'nitalim b'Shabbat, and it's going to be nitalim b'Shabbat. So the Gemara says, lo tzicha, what are we dealing with? They buy mara v'chatzina. You need mara v'chatzina. Here you see, you don't have it anymore. All the rims and everything was completely covered, so you completely covered it. It's completely connected in the ground. Okay? Next, Sulama Mitzri. Here we're going to talk about two different types of sulamot. Sulama Mitzri is a ladder, which is called the Egyptian ladder, right? It says over here, Eno Mimaet. It does not minimize anything. But Sulam Tsori, right, which is a bigger ladder, yeah, Mimaet. Now, why is it bigger? I'm not sure. Both of them, it looks like they're in the picture. They're both the same. 4 tfachim wide. Okay, let's see what it says. Hechi dami sulama mitzri. What is sulama mitzri? Amri de Rabbi Yanai says, they said in the Academy of Rabbi Yanai, she'eno arba'a chavakim. It does not have 4 rungs. Ah, now you see it. Look, here there's only 3 rungs. Because when I was looking at the thick... What?
No, there's 4 and 3, yeah.
Yeah, here there's 3, you see? No, because before they spoke about the rungs, I'm looking at the picture, and I say, what? They're both 4 tfachim wide, they're both the same height, so what's the difference? And I'm looking, I'm like, what's the difference? I didn't pay attention to the rungs. So here it's true, here there's 3 rungs, and here there's 4. In a sense, that's what he's saying. So, Ravashi, my tama, what's the reasoning? What's the reasoning? What do I care about how many rungs are there here? Like steps. What do I care? So he says, you didn't hear what he said. But you could take it on Shabbat. And anything which you could take it on Shabbat is not mimayet. Which means Sulam Mitzri, you're allowed to use it on Shabbat. You're allowed to take it, to move it, to do whatever you want with it on Shabbat. So therefore, that's why it's not going to minimize. But the Sulam Tzori, no. So says the Gemara, why can't you move the Tzori? So says the Gemara, Hatam kovdo koveo. Since it's so heavy, so I guess because of the extra rung, it's heavier. So since it's heavier, it's going to make it like a makom kavua, like a fixed place, and you're not going to move it. Okay, so Amar Abaye says, kotel sheben shte chatzero gavo sarat vachim yiniach sulam rachav arba'a. If you have a kotel which is between 2 courtyards, okay, and then what did you do? You put 10 tvachim tall, it's over here, 10 tvachim tall, you put a sulam rachav arba'a, right? Now, mikam is sulam rachav arba'a. So on each side you have the sulam. Look. Here you have each side of the sulam. You have less than 3 tvachim between each sulam. So this is one sulam, you have less than 3 tvachim between each one. So it says over here, mimaet, shlosha, right, mimaet. Shlosha, eno mimaet. If it's less than 3, so it's going to be mimaet. So therefore you could use it. If it's going to be, right, 3, then it's not mimaet. See, here you have 3. So it's not mimaet. And when do we say this? If the kotel is less than 4 tvachim. But if it's going to be more than 4 tvachim, if it's going to be 2 different sides, like completely more than 3 tvachim, right? One's going to be here, one's going to be there, it's going to be okay. You see over here. If it's going to be more than 4 tvachim, even if you have one here and one here, as long as each sulam is 4 tvachim, no problem. It's going to be mimayet. Amar of Bebai bar Abaye. Says Rabbi Abaye, Bana itzteba al gabe itzteba. If you built an itzteba on top of another itzteba. So you see here, look, one step on top of another step. Okay, if the bottom one has 4 tvachim, it's going to be memayet. Inami, or if the bottom one does not have arba, but the top one, does have 4 tvachim, that's this one. See, the top one is more than the bottom one. The bottom one is smaller. The top one is more. Okay, Inami, Vemba says you don't have 3 tvachim in between, meaning you don't have 3 tvachim between the top and the bottom one. Each one is less than 3 tvachim. So then it's also memayet. It's also going to minimize because now it has less than 10 tvachim. Okay? If you have a sulam, these are all just the different opinions. Next, this picture. Sulam sheshrivotav porchot. What does that mean, porchot? It's either becoming wider or skinnier. You see in the picture? You also have a picture there, Barak? Okay, so that's the different, yeah. Here, I don't know, he gives a different picture here. Look at here, this picture that we have here, he has that the runs, meaning that the ladder is not straight. It's either becoming wider or like skinnier, meaning where exactly it is. Okay? So that's what it says here. Each one is less than 3 tvachim. It's 4 tvachim wide, but on the bottom is less than 4 tvachim. Or here it's 4 tvachim wide on the bottom, but on the top it's less. Right? And here again, this is 10 tvachim. But now from here it's less than 10 tvachim. So it says, if you have on the bottom one 4 tvachim, inami, or the bottom one does not have 4 tvachim, but the top one you have 4 tvachim, but you don't have 3 tvachim in between each rung. That's what you have here. Each one is less than 3 tvachim. It's going to be memayet. It's also going to minimize, and therefore you could use the wall on the top. The Amr of Nachman says Rav Nachman Rabba Baravua, Ayin Chetem Udalef on the top, 78A1. Ziza Yotze Mina Kotel. If you have something sticking out of the wall. This is another one. Interesting. And this is according to Tosafot. Another type of a ladder. Another one, the Rashba. This is this picture. Ziza Yotze Mina Kotel. Daled al Daled. Yeah, 4x4. V'iniach alav sulam kolshu. And you put like a sulam on it. Yeah, miato. It minimizes also. But again, the same thing. Less than 4 tvachim, but here you do have 4x4. So this is like a stand in the middle of the wall. Now from here to here is less than 10 tvachim. From here to here is less than 10 tvachim. Right? And again, each one, this is less than 4 tvachim, and it's less than 3 tvachim by each rung. So it says miato. But if you put something on top of it, but if you put it beside it, so then you just made it longer. I guess here, yeah, right here. Here you just made it more. It has to be by it over here, like this picture. Okay? And then we continue Bezrat Hashem tomorrow.